Alrighty, hello again. This is Dr. Octoberpuss. For now, we'll see what happens with my account. But anyway, let's jump right into things. Today we're doing another G-rated one, just until I figure what I can get away with. And we're going to start with a Merry Baisermas from Kinathis. Now, this person is also the author of Gushing Succubus and the Shadow of Her Wings, which I'm pretty sure is probably the most well-known fic in this fandom, judging by a few things here and there. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this. It's Christmas Eve and Baiser has something special for her favorite magical girls. That sounds fun. I'm surprised it's G-rated with that. Alright. It was a cold night of early winter. A light snow coated the ground as gentle flakes fell from the sky. It was a quiet evening, with a great many people inside spending time with their families as tonight was Christmas Eve. Most were eating and drinking at home while others were out and about, shopping downtown and indulging in street activities. But in a small park, a lone figure stood amongst the snow. She was tall and proud, with long purple hair and tall golden horns. Oh yeah. She wore a long purple winter coat, though any familiar with the woman knew that under it was a scandalously skimpy outfit of pasties. A corset, decorative skirts, and pants that hung so low they showed off most of her ass. That's exactly the kind of pants I like. There we go, Baiser. She stood amongst the falling snow quietly as if waiting for something. The villainous Magia Baiser was waiting for the inevitable. It was times like this that she lamented her magical transformation's appearance. Magical girls did not get protection from the cold, it seemed, and the skimpy, even slutty appearance of her outfit did very little to protect her from winter's cold. At the very least, her long hair helped to keep her head shielded from the brunt of early winter. She knew what she was doing. The succubus knew what her transformation would do. It would bring them to her. It always did. It never failed to draw the city's heroines into the field. They knew her magical signature very well after so many encounters with each other. She knew that they would sense her, and even on a night like tonight, they would be duty-bound to come and confront her. Baiser smiled at that. Those girls never failed to live up to her expectations. For that, she loved them all the more. I am very excited as for what Baiser has in store for them. Indeed, she didn't have to wait much longer as she felt them. She was not as adept as they were at sniffing out magic. The way Tres Magia always seemed to show up within moments or even seconds of her or the other members of Enermida going active was impressive. She felt their presence perhaps 30 seconds before they descended from the sky behind her. They too were wearing winter coats, hats, and gloves. Baiser, I thought better of you. I thought that you would be better than to cause trouble tonight of all nights, Magia Azur said as she crossed her arms. Seriously, Baiser, it's Christmas Eve. Couldn't you have put whatever this is off for a few days? We have families to spend time with, Magia Sulphur said as she tapped her foot on the ground in irritation. What are you planning, Baiser? Where are the other members of Enermida? Magia Magenta asked as she pulled out her spear. It may be Christmas Eve, but we won't go easy on you because of that. Baiser grinned. That was precisely the attitude she loved about them. The noble defiance they always showed, the readiness to face her down. The villainess turned to them and smiled. Oh, my dear Tres Magia, you misunderstand me terribly. Look around, it's just me out here. No other members of Enermida, and not even any monsters. The three magical girls kept their eyes on her as they kept up their guard. Probably a good plan. Oh, have you come to surrender yourself to us? What a lovely Christmas present you prepared for us. Sulphur summoned her fists and cracked her knuckles. Ha ha ha. I'm afraid not, Sulphur. I am never going to be good at reading laughs. Ha ha ha. Wahaha. I am not afraid, Sulphur. You are close to the mark, but no. I'm not wrapping myself up in a nice big bow for you just yet. But you are on the right track. Baiser grinned ear to ear and picked up the bag that sat on the ground next to her. It is Christmas Eve. So how could I not get presents for my favorite magical girls? That gave them pause for a moment. Baiser was an eccentric and bombastic villain. She seemed to love and thrive on the drama of their encounters, but she always kept things between herself and them, never getting civilians involved in their battles. She was alone as far as they could tell. They couldn't sense any other hidden magical presences around. They couldn't sense any other magical presences around. Though it wouldn't be the first time Intermita had jumped out of a surprise portal from wherever they hid. Two of them gave Baiser a skeptical look, but Magenta lowered her spear and appraised Baiser seriously. "You brought presents for us? You aren't just trying to trick us, are you?" Baiser's grin softened to a smile, and she brought a hand to her chest and drew an X on herself. "Cross my heart, no tricks. We may be foes, but it is Christmas. After all our encounters, I am quite fond of you all. So in the spirit of the holiday, let us be at peace, even if it is just for one evening." Sulfur and Azure looked at Magenta. The pink-haired girl seemed to think about it before relaxing and putting away her spear. "Okay, but I won't forgive you if you trick us this time." "Are you sure about this, Magenta?" Azure said as she crossed her arms. "I think she is telling the truth. Baiser is a weirdo and a pervert, but she has never been a jerk. True, fair, yes." Sulfur looked annoyed, but she shrugged. "Fine, but if she pulls the rug out from under us, I'm going to beat the tar out of her." "Oh, Magenta, you warm my heart with your trust." Baiser smiled her fanged smile and approached the magical girls. "I prepared something very nice for the three of you." The villainess reached into her bag and pulled out 3 boxes before handing them to the girls. Each box had been wrapped with care and matched each of the magical girls' colors. "I put all my love and care into these. I do so hope you like them," she says before stepping back and putting her hands behind her back. The trio looked at the gifts with trepidation. Baiser was acting extra Baisery, and not in the pervy way she usually did. She almost looked bashful as she stood there and watched with anticipation. Azure ran her hand over the wrapping paper of her gift. It was blue and silver and covered in snowflakes. It matched her perfectly. "I'll go first. If anyone has to trip the trap, it should be me." "Well, you do like getting caught in traps, Azure, so that would fit." Magenta and Sulfur didn't bother saying anything. Their faces said all that was needed as they looked at their masochistic friend. They know. The two stepped away from Azure as she started to carefully unwrap the paper. "Oh, so cautious. Foo foo foo," which is how people write giggling, in case you didn't know. "Foo foo foo, you don't trust me at all. And after I swore I would be good tonight." Baiser tittered and watched with eager anticipation for Azure to unwrap what she had brought. The masochistic magical girl finished removing the paper only to find a plain brown box underneath. Her eyes flicked to look at the villainess for a moment before she prepared to open it. What is it going to be? What is Baiser playing at? Is something going to burst out? What if it wraps around my face and I can't see anything? It could be a face hugger, yes. Or maybe it springs out and binds my arms. Azure has got to stop threatening herself with a good time. Azure felt her body heat up at the prospects of what kind of trick Baiser was planning with this. She resolved herself to face it herself. With dignity and poise, she would not let her inner desires and lust for the succubus be shown from behind her mask. She took a deep breath and opened the box as Magenta and Sulfur watched with bated breath. Nothing happened. Nothing sprang out to grab Azure. Nothing exploded. The rest of Intermita didn't jump out of hiding places to ambush them. Everything was quiet as snow continued to gently fall around them. Azure looked down at the contents of the box and surprise showed on her face. She reached into the box and pulled out a long scarf made of soft blue yarn. Much like the wrapping paper, silvery snowflakes were woven into the pattern, and at each end was an embroidered image of Baiser herself, with a big blue heart above her. "It's a scarf. Did you make this yourself?" Baiser, for all her usual perverted acts, actually blushed. It was not the same excited flush she got when she fought them with the intent to toy with them. This time it seemed more gentle and bashful. This was a side of the succubus none of them had ever seen before. "I did, with my own 2 hands. What do you think?" The 3 magical girls looked at the hand-knitted scarf in silence. Together they looked up and envisioned Baiser, the succubus, the villain that was their nemesis, sitting in a chair by a cozy fire and knitting the scarves with all the care of a loving housewife. It seemed so silly, but here it was. This more gentle side of Baiser was so different and almost tragic. If she let this side out more, maybe she would stop being a villain. Sulfur looked at her nemesis thoughtfully. That's so sweet. I wonder if things had gone differently. Could she have been a hero instead of a villain? Magenta thought sadly. Baiser leaned back and looked away from the girls. She folded her hands together in front of herself and let out a steaming breath. I made one for each of you, so don't keep a girl waiting, she said, glancing at the other two members of Trismagia in a truly coquettish manner. Magenta and Sulfur looked down at their own boxes for a second before they too began to open presents. The sound of tearing paper filled the air for a moment as gold and red wrap fell to the ground. They opened their boxes and each one pulled out a hand-knitted scarf. Sulfur's was yellow and embroidered with lightning bolts, while Magenta's was pink and patterned with hearts, and each one had a little Baiser patterned on the ends. Azure was the first one to put hers on. She wrapped it around her neck and folded it to stay in place. The woolen yarn was soft and warm, and a gentle scent wafted up from the handmade gift. It felt like Baiser was giving her a hug. Magenta was the next, with Sulfur being the last to put on her scarf. It was still so strange that Baiser had made these gifts for them for Christmas. The founding member of the team touched her scarf and looked at her nemesis. These are really nice. I knew deep down you weren't all bad. Magenta thought for a moment and took a step forward. But why did you go to all the trouble? Baiser looked at the three and smiled wistfully. Why indeed? Can I not show my appreciation for my magical girls who work so hard? She seemed satisfied with the way this little event had gone. The leader of Enormita turned away from the trio and started to walk away. Magenta took a few steps toward the departing succubus. Baiser, this was really nice of you. You're more than just a bad guy. You don't have to keep being one. You can stop being a villain if you want. The villainess didn't stop walking, but she did look over her shoulder and smile at the pink-haired girl before closing her eyes and stepping into a swirling portal of black and purple mist, but not before speaking one last time. Merry Christmas, Trismagia. And just like that, she was gone, back to wherever Enormita's hideout was. The members of Trismagia watched as she left and the portal closed. For a moment, they just let the silence of the winter night take hold. Magenta turned back to the others and sighed. I guess that's a no. She reached up and touched the soft yarn of the pink scarf. Sulfur sighed and stepped up to her friend and patted her on the shoulder. Did you really think that would work? Magenta blushed and scratched her cheek. Well, no, but it was worth a try, right? Azure smiled at her friend and looked back at the empty space where Baiser had been standing and waiting for them. What kind of villain gets her arch enemies Christmas presents? Magenta rubbed at the scarf around her neck. I don't know. I know she is a pervert and a weirdo, and I can never tell what her plans are. But I think we are kind of lucky to have her as our enemy. Oh, that was so sweet. What the heck? Oh, man. Oh, I could see my model's not opening her eyes. But anyway, oh my gosh, that was the cutest. I really liked how Baiser, like the entire time, even when it was revealed what she had gotten for them, she was still extremely Baisery. Like, she was being very, like, you know that way of talking she kind of has, where it's, like, kind of seductive and teasing. Like, even all through it, she kept that tone up. Like, she was still the villain Baiser, even though she was, like, doing something really genuinely sweet. And I actually, where was it? When Azure first opened her gift, I was actually tearing up a little bit there. That was so sweet. And yeah, just thinking of Baiser, I mean, it was probably Utena, but they wouldn't know that. Just making those scarves for them is just the most adorable thing ever. So yeah, that was awesome. Hello, kitty. That was great. But yeah, so that was a Merry Baisermas by Kinathis. If you want to feel lots of warm feels and maybe tear up a little at the fuzzy awesomeness of it, Please give it a try. Do comment if you want me to read anything in particular, and I'll see what I can do. And yeah, good to see you guys again, and let's see how this turned out, I guess. Not that I can edit it, because I don't know how to edit. But yeah, have a great night.